Live, live, live. Hello, Instagram. I am back. It's been a minute. And I have no idea with such short notice who will be jumping on here with me, but I'm also live on YouTube for those of you guys who are happen to have gotten a little message through your subscriptions. Hello, guys. Hey, Monet, you're here. I see you. Got some other people joining on Instagram, and this is a little impromptu. I was actually going to film a podcast, but I don't have the right equipment yet, as I have a new podcast, and this is where I have been a little bit of MIA. I have been doing a little bit of research, playing, and some deep inner work on myself, which you guys have probably seen with your favorite teachers or your mentors. They will like disappear for a while, and it is really because we're out here on the front line, we're in the trenches, and we're bringing you guys these profound messages that we get. But then what it does is it kind of brings up a lot for ourselves. And so instead of us sitting here going live every day, keeping our commitment to you and crying in front of you while things are unprocessed and ugly, we're going to go within. And I think that could be respected, because I truly respect that when my teachers and mentors are doing that as well. We are in fast changing times, and right now I'm in my little art studio. I have got a couple of playrooms that I had confiscated in the house. This used to be a dining room, but like, who uses their dining room, right? Like, who uses their dining room? So this is now one of my little places where I display all my funky stuff. It's also going to be where I film my new podcast, Atomically Blonde. And that is the concept of quantum Kabbalah, which is the art of receivership. And that is what I want to talk today about. I know that there's some guys that jumped online, but unless you are trying to figure out your crazy woman or trying to figure out how to be everything that she needs, this probably isn't for you. You can stay, honey, if you want, but you already know how crazy I am. And the rest of you, ladies, come on, right? We're queens, and this is our era. This is our era, the rise of the divine feminine. And what does that mean? What does that mean? What does it actually mean? I did a blog post about that, but it's just so much easier to speak about it. And we're in these new times, like uncharted waters. But ultimately, what the divine feminine rising means is the age of Aquarius. The idea of water. Divine feminine is water. It flows. We haven't had much flow on this planet in a very long time. It's been blocks, it's been stuck points, it's been straight lines, it's been rigid. And if you understand that there are no straight lines in nature, women have curves, right? Why do you think that because of the way that the system has become so detrimental to both men and women, all right, that women literally have to go get BBLs to get curves? Like, what is happening? All the hormones in the water, right? There's 33% birth control in the water. It's making our guys like really homosexual, and our girls like extra testosterone, where we're losing the curves. Not me, I have enough for everyone, but most people are still dealing with that. And I see like, how is it that we have to go buy our curves, ladies? But it's because we've been so over masculized. We have been so out of our safety. We have produced so much cortisol in our bodies that our bodies are not even looking the same way that they used to, or the way that Creator made us. But that is all going to kind of rewind and recircle, and it will all come full circle, right? So don't worry. Maybe not in your generation, but in the next generation, unless you get to work. And what that means is that you really want to sit with yourself, if you are a woman, and decide what kind of woman you want to be. Right? Not what the world has made you, not what you feel like you're allowed to do or what you can do, but really sit down and get right with your heart, not with your security, not with what you need in the form of protection, but really where you are in your heart. Because I see all this stuff on TikTok about black cat energy and, girls, you got to manipulate the guys. And I'm telling you right now, that is a recipe for destruction. If you truly want to find your person, if you want to find your soulmate, that is manipulation, and that is working with darkness. Ladies, we already have intense access to the void. So we really need to like stay in the light when we are defining who it is that we want to spend the rest of our life with, because attracting people out of these TikTok seduction tips, it's going to be a quick fix, and it's going to add years to your life. And ladies, these might be your most beautiful years. You do not want to waste them with the wrong person because you attracted basically out of some black cat formula. Ultimately, where I have been the last 2 years is kind of pulled out of the whole dating world, went celibate, totally cleaned up my inner vibe. I got right with the creator, which I didn't even think I really knew what God was before I started this journey, even though I had all these psychic abilities and I was teaching around the world, universal knowledge, but I didn't really have the fellowship, the kind of like father-daughter relationship with the creator that I do now. And it wasn't until I asked and asked and asked and prayed and sat in restriction and fasted and prayed some more and cried some more. And then it was like a light bulb came on, because it's like when you're a kid and you're like digging to China, and then all of a sudden it's like it's there, right? The darker and the deeper and the darker you go in the dark, the faster you're going to see the light. But we're always trying to break our fall. We're trying to find the instant gratification. We're trying to take the pill. We're trying to get the guy to notice you. You're trying to fix the relationship that never worked. And ladies, you deserve so much more than that, right? Some of the ladies that I work with, I have a tendency to attract very powerful women who are desperately desiring to be in that soft feminine flowing life of just pleasure and joy and creation and arts and working on a skin line or working on perfume or something, but they have to stay in the corporate field because they're used to that lifestyle, or they're supporting a man. I've seen it all. And I've lived it. I've totally lived it. So I have intense compassion for any of you guys that are kind of like in that limbo state. But to understand what the divine feminine rising is in now, especially when you look around and you're like, we're in some seriously dark times, right? Like the patriarchy is falling apart, they've created all these straight lines. They've formulated all of our houses in a box. You guys realize that when you are in a square, rectangular space, your body goes into anxiety. But if you go into a circular space, your body moves into empathy and flow. Because the way that nature is designed is in a circular pattern that is unity, that is infinity, that is movement. And then as soon as you get into a straight, rigid structure, you're going to have to go into logic. So one of the most beautiful things that I have learned about quantum Kabbalah, which is the basis of my new podcast, which is called Atomically Blonde, Quantum Kabbalah for the Modern Feminine, it is all about receivership. And think about it, ladies. You so desperately want your Prince Charming to come and sweep you off your feet and receive the divine blessings of your deepest, wants and needs. And yet you're also terrified to receive, because receiving means someone has power over you. It means someone has control over you. It means that, someone is the boss of you. It means you're weak, right? And then not only that, but if you actually think back, I had my class do this a couple of weeks ago. It's like, write out all the things that they have received that have hurt them. Because it is the subconscious belief systems that are created that keep you unconsciously pushing away love, prosperity, abundance, joy, opportunities, resources. And so when we are unconsciously pushing it away, what are we going to think on the surface? We're going to think that we don't deserve it because it's not showing up. We're going to think we're not good enough because it's not showing up. And that has never, ever, ever been the case. It has always been disconnection. And it has also been the belief the system that is hiding underneath your desire. You see, like when you have two competing desires, when you have a desire to be in a relationship, but then you have a desire that you want your freedom. Or ladies, you desire you want to have a baby. But on the flip side, you're also desiring that you don't want to lose your body or your beauty or, whatever. Or you want to stay at home with your kids, but you also want to have your own money. So these competing desires, basically, for divine feminine energy, it puts us into cortisol and it puts us into stress. And so what we do is we actually produce more testosterone. And when we're running a lot of testosterone-based energy, we have all this desire to pursue. We have all this desire to build. We want to protect. We want to fix everything. We want to save everyone. And hello, that's the masculine's job. But when you are in that stress response, it is the nature of divine feminine to flip and move into that space. And it happens so unconsciously. And we do get such a power rush from it that it feels really good until your body begins to burn out, because you were not built. That is not part of your nature. You were not designed that way. You were designed to reserve your energy. You were designed to be in your pleasure, to be in your security. You were designed to be in your heart and in your quiet, soft spaces. You were not designed to be going, running, creating. Because what happens is that you're constantly outrunning the life force energy that is there to nurture and basically fill the vessel that what you're creating with. And you're going to find yourself feeling like a lone ranger or all alone, or you have to do it all yourself, or the only way it can get done is if you do it yourself. I know, I used to be there. And then what happens is you're going to get your heart broken so many times through business partners and jobs and boyfriends and family members, because when you are out of nature, all right, when you are out of your nature, then nothing can line up for you, because you are here to be the nature and the child of God, which means that you were made in the image, which means that if you don't act like creator, then it feels like the universe is punishing you. And a lot of us don't even know how the creator acts. And so we're thinking, well, I'm giving and I'm serving and I'm nurturing. Are you nurturing or are you saving? Are you nurturing or are you controlling? Are you telling them you have to drink water because you're worried about their health, or are you giving them a glass of water and letting them make their own choice? Because again, one of those masculine traits is very controlling, very worrisome, very fear-based. And what this does is it just destroys your hormonal balance, ladies. And so then you're going to need, to put padding in your hips, or, because you need to get fake hips because you can't produce estrogen. Right? So that's just one. I know some women are like, I got too much. But if you have too much, it is because you're producing also too much testosterone. And then that is creating that kind of war. If you've ever been like in competition with your man, where it's kind of like, well, I'll do this and you do that. So you're producing this testosterone, but then your body's like, no. We got to produce estrogen because we're in our baby making years. And so now you're overweight. And you can't lose weight because your cortisol is so out of control. And that is just like a tiny hormonal piece of what I'm talking about. But what I want to do is take you on this journey with this new Atomic Blonde podcast, and that's kind of like branched off in workshops. And because I am excited over what I am learning to receive. It isn't about like, oh, I know this, because I don't. But what I do know is that what I have put into action after basically 20 years of spiritual seeking and deep knowledge and deep trance meditations and, all kinds of psychic work and so much healing, that I found that I really didn't understand what we are as creation, like what we are as creatures, what is the image of God? How does that work? Like, I have been teaching you guys that the simulation is the Adam and Eve game, where you come in, you're Adam or you're Eve, you're guilty by association, you're going to get abandoned, you're going to get abused, you're going to get rejected, you're going to go off into the world and you're going to do bad things, you're going to become Lilith, Mary Magdalene, all these different characters, and then you're going to find yourself awakening, usually around like 33, you start to question things, or if you're one of these new kids, it's even earlier. And then you start to awaken, and then everybody attacks you. And that is when you start the Christ avatar, the Christ conscious avatar. You guys, the simulation is biblical. So if we look at all of the different stories that are nothing more than a treasure map, and we put everything together, and you look at the Kabbalah, what you realize, it is not necessarily even related to Judaism whatsoever. It is technology, and it is all based in numerology and sacred geometry. And so as I deep dived in, because I was like, well, there's nothing left. I've studied everything there is, from Buddhism to New Age to everything. I'm like, well, let's see this, because I did wake up speaking Aramaic, and that's usually a clue that I need to start looking into something like that. And I picked this energy up, and within 3 days of looking at the concepts, my life started to change. Like, I mean, and it was so simplified information that I actually put it into all my classrooms. I I let my boyfriend look at it over the time. He picked it up right away. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this? How is this that I have not found this? Now, I will tell you that when you do get your kind of dabbling into Kabbalah, it is still mostly masculine taught. But the concept of a divine feminine, you guys, is that we glow in the dark. So in the darkest and darkest and darkest and darkest of times, y'all, you're going to have a nightlight. Just like we are lunar, we're the moon, we are the reflector, and we are the vessel. So Kabbalah means vessel. It means to receive. So if we look at the Bible, we learn how to give. We learn how to give. We learn how to give. We learn how to do. We learn how to act like the Christ. We learn how to do all these good deeds. But how many good deeds have you done in your life? How many people have you taken care of? How much service have you provided? And yet somehow it never came back to you. You never attracted people that loved you the way you loved. You never attracted people that gave to you the way you gave. Am I telling your story? Like, if I am, like, give me a thumbs up and like put something in the comments, okay? Because this is kind of where I was. And what we're doing that's out of alignment, guys, in that space is not where your heart is. Your heart is in the perfect place, right? You want to be of service. You know, you feel more aware than the people you surround yourself with. So you think, well, they can't give to me, so you can justify that. But ultimately, you're always going to attract not what you want, but who you are. So everyone around you is a mirror of you, right? And so if you're giving and you've surrounded yourself with takers, you have to look at that and be like, where is this ratio off? Because the creator is nothing more than giving. The sun does not require anything to shine, which is kind of like symbology of the creator. And the moon is the receiver of that light that reflects it back. So when we are playing a role of human avatar down here, the way we get into our final level of the third dimensional game, which is the Christ consciousness, which is like trading the Adam and Eve role for the Christ suit, then you have to have the perfect ratio of giving and receiving, right? And it's all there. It's in every text. But the thing is if you don't necessarily understand Hebrew, or it hasn't been like wildly available for us, now what you're going to realize is that the age of like illumination that we're in, this golden age, everything's going to be so simple. You're going to be like, why did I spend 20 years on this spiritual journey? Your seeking will end. Your seeking will end. And ladies, it's funny because the story is that like Eve ate from that tree of knowledge and, the world went to shit. Not true, but it's an avatar. It's a backstory. Every game has to have an origin backstory, or what would be the point? Every movie you watch has to have like a motive. So we have these little motives built in through our hardware that make us behave. Now, if you don't believe me, go and get your astrology charts done. And you will find that you have a lot less free will than you thought you did. Because get this, I stayed away from astrology until I was probably around like 38, which is just a few, like less than 20 years ago. Okay. And because I purposely was like, I don't want anybody telling me what I can create, very stubborn. And then I got my charts done. And it basically said, you will be an abused child. You will this, you will that. You will struggle, and relationships will be your kryptonite. You'll never find love, and you'll be a spiritual teacher, whether you like it or not. Like I had no choice. And here I'm thinking that I'm like, oh, I woke up and I have this message. It was all predetermined in the stupid script. So when you start to look at your script and you're like, okay, so I'm on this karmic wheel, aka, right, the matrix, and I'm playing out cycles, right, lunar cycles, retrogrades, I'm playing with the 4 elements, I'm playing with other reflections of my own chart in my physical reality. You guys realize that you do not have not one person in your physical reality that isn't produced by your own charts. Your movie is your universe, which means we're all kind of like overlapping stories, but everyone in your movie is for your main character, right? And so whatever your main character is carrying in the deep-seated space of the karmic wheel that they're here to ascend or clear or up level, then there's things that we're here to overcome, and there's things that we're here to grow through. But this system has become so sophisticated that's like we never want them to find out how easy this is. And it all started with like the Babylon and like spreading everybody out so nobody would ever and breaking up all the books of the Bible so that we would have to like go on this like treasure hunt, which of course, what else do we have to do? So we've done that. And with the internet and AI, you guys realize how simple this is going to be. The information is not going to be what is complicated from here on out, because we are in the age of technology and information. So anything that you want to know, you will be able to access. That is not going to be the difficult part. The difficult part is for you to redesign your physical avatar and eliminate all of the vessels that you have created within that go against your heart's desires. Because when you've lived a life of like mediocrity or settling or heartbreak or rejection, abandonment, abuse, then you're going to play the game of breadcrumbs. Okay. And you're going to be like looking for these breadcrumbs, and you're going to get, a tiny bit of satisfaction, and it's going to make you hungrier for more. And you can spend lifetimes doing that. But when you realize that's something that's cool that Kabbalah kind of teaches, is that the bigger your desire, it helps you break the shell. It helps you break the old vessel that you've created here. And the old vessel is that I don't deserve to receive, or I have to give and I shouldn't receive, or whatever. But I'll tell you the formula. All right. The formula for divine feminine is I receive to give. Ladies, we were built to receive. I mean, come on, look at how genitals are. Look at how all of creation works. You are here to receive. Divine masculine is here to give, right? They're the one walking around with the seeds. Okay. So they have this, and they're like, I want to give the seed to everybody. And ladies were like, oh, I don't feel safe to receive. Okay. So just look at that side of the story, and then you can kind of look more at creation, how this works. So right in front of our face, but we don't know what we don't. No. Masculine, I give to receive, right? So just ponder that while I take a sip. All right. Now, think about how you usually roll, all right? Like I'm usually like, okay, give. Ladies, we're trying to give from this empty place. Now, I can ask every man in the world out there, you're in love with a girl and she says, go pick me a flower. And so you're going to go into a flower field and there's billions of flowers to choose from. You're going to look for the most full, the most open, the most beautiful, the most healthy looking flower that you can find. Masculine guys, that's what you're going to go look for. Fullness, vitality, beauty, healthy, because that to you is what represents your girl, your woman. And so whatever you give to her is like, this is you. Now imagine, ladies, we're the flowers, okay? And you're over there running on E, giving all your life force energy to somebody's dusty son, right? Who isn't even helping you. You're wilted. And you're feeding every other flower around you so that they can be all big and earthy. And then you're wondering why the guy is not coming and choosing you and filling you up with that beauty and that vitality. See, it's so backwards in creation. Because think about it, you guys, this matrix is the inversion of the kingdom of heaven. So the kingdom of heaven, or where we came from, or where our actual true higher selves reside, you guys, these are avatars. We are in virtual reality. We haven't even left heaven. We're like looking down at ourselves like, you guys, come on, get with it. All right. We're down here and they twist everything. So the inversion of the kingdom of heaven is going to be opposition. So everything you think mentally, intuitively, ladies, that you should be doing in your relationship is getting you the wrong guy. And I know this from experience because as stubborn as I am, I've tried that and proved it. Okay. I have been the wilted flower that looked pretty, right? Or tried to look together, because this is what we do. We're the wilted flower. We're not like, our self-care is lacking, or we think a massage is self-care. No. That is not. Boundaries are self-care, all right? Saying no thank you is, and receiving, that is self-care. So many things. But you get the point. And so again, what we try to do, ladies, think about it. Skincare, liposuction is $1 billion business. Weight loss, $1 billion. Why? Because there's a bunch of wilted flowers out there trying to look the part so someone will love them. And then we're aging. Like, I'm going to be 50 in just like a couple of months. And I was watching myself like when I was 30. Even if you guys go back to my YouTube channel, I'm embarrassed, but I'm not taking it down. If you guys look like 5 years ago, my YouTube channel, I look like 20 years older. Okay? Because I was giving. I had a savior complex. I had a huge pride, which means that I had to do everything myself. Like, I wouldn't let anybody in. I was dating very feminine men because I was in my masculine. And so I was basically mothering and life coaching these dudes. And it didn't get me anywhere because, again, when you are not in your nature, it's not going to work. So if the relationship is it's not working, that is your first clue. Okay? It don't matter how much you love them. Chemistry is not compatibility. But see, when you are on birth control or in your masculine energy, your field of attraction is way off. Because when you are healthy in your feminine energy, you are going to be attracted to the DNA that is compatible for you. And we all have soulmates, probably lots of different soulmates. But as you get higher and higher in your spiritual awareness, you're going to find more of the vibrational match that matches the truth of who you were created to be. So the closer you get to creator, the more like your origin, factory setting, who you were before the world told you you were nothing, the version of you that is deserving and full of life and vitality, regardless of your age. There is a person waiting for you. Now, if you're hearing this, you're like, I'm already in a relationship. You don't have to worry because this is a hologram. Okay? This is a hologram. Edits are made in the spirit world, not in physical reality. So you cannot edit your man to his face. Okay? You cannot go and change him. You edit in the spirit world, which means that you got to go get your counsel and you got to go do the inner work and you got to go make the edits behind the scenes. In the pause, you've got to pause the game because it's going. And you try to change all these things in the game, it's hardwired for you to be separate from your creator. It is hardwired for you to need the system. You need Botox. You need that. You're going to spend money on that because you're the wilted flower. So then what happens is when you start pulling back from all of that behavior and you start slowing down, I know it's very hard. It's even hard for me, slowing down. That's why I really got into art, because I have a lot of life force energy and I want to do a lot and I want to go a lot and I want to be a lot. And so it's like, okay, I also want to heal my physical body. So I have taught thousands of women about art therapy and how to channel that life force energy. Because ladies, we are here to make whatever we receive, we're here to make something with it. Okay? We are here to multiply what we are given. We are here to grow what we're given. Now think about, what have you been given lately? And how did you grow it? Because you did. Okay? What have you been given lately that you multiply? Did you get some attitude so you multiplied it? Because men don't realize that, oh, you guys are crazy. We are mirroring how you treat yourself and us. And so how we feel about ourselves is what we're going to mirror back, right? If I don't feel safe, you're going to feel that in multitudes, right? And again, this is the wild essence of divine feminine that is going to be in all of her fields, because that is her superpower, is to be able to feel below the surface. Get out of that circumstantial logic, because logic is the root of all suffering, and get into the nonsense, the whimsy, get into the spirit world where all things are created. And this is why you have a womb, ladies. You have the vessel to create. And this is why you were designed to receive. So when you're running out there trying to get, you're out of alignment with creation. Now, my definition of sin, because I'm not religious, sin is separated in nature. And so when you separate from your nature, okay, then you are going to get exactly the opposite of what you really desire, and then it becomes a project. But I know from experience, ladies, we always make something out of what we're given. So we're trying to make a man out of a boy. We're trying to like, pour into these things and our businesses and our people and our jobs. And if you're not making anything that you truly love out of it, you're not in the right place. You're not in the right vibration for your true essence. And now I am not speaking to a woman's body. I am talking to feminine energy. Okay, so I am talking about the men that are also born with feminine energy, and that is what your truth is. So I am not segregating. I am not like getting all crazy Christian and being like, you can't be gay. God created you perfectly, whatever you are. But the thing is if you cannot be who you are in your heart, that's what you got to hear, because the soul is going to speak through the heart, not the mind. So the mind's going to tell you got a man's body, you got to be a man. But if your heart is like, I'm in a man's body, but I am a woman, I will tell you, if you don't believe me, go do a drag show. You will see more feminine energy in a drag show than you will see in 100,000 women, because of the way that we have been traumatized. So ladies, in order for you to truly step into your receivership, you have to understand who you are as a vessel and how you were created to receive. That will also help you with your own masculine energy, because I do have to use my masculine energy. I'm a single mom at the moment, and hell, right? And I am running a business, and I'm taking care of a home. I have responsibilities. So I have to get in that masculine hat. And when I do, right, that is usually where I bump heads in my relationship, because there can't be two alpha males in that relationship. And so like my partner and I've had to like warn him, like, let me know when you're coming so I can shift hats, because I will have this natural competition with him, which is like ridiculous, but it's also conscious. Right? Like, I was more productive than you were, like, what? Doesn't make any sense, which all I actually want to do is just cook for him and give him back rub, but I'm not in that hat. I'm not in that space. And so I kind of have to like take a few hours to like adjust. And then he kind of like lets me go fully back into my feminine energy, so that I don't necessarily have to think about every little thing that's going on. And so then I can refill my vessel. Like, and again, when I say pleasure, I'm not talking about sexuality. I'm talking about when a woman is full, right? Then she is healthy. When she is empty all the time because she's giving, then she has nothing to give. And what women don't understand is women think that they need to be empty to attract a man. And really, men are only attracted to fullness. Right? So it's like they're attracted to the ones that don't need them. And the reason why is because neediness is very unattractive. And there's so many women out there in their masculine energy that pretend, I don't need a man, I can do it better than a man. And they can, right? Because we are emotionally stronger. Okay. We have a higher threshold of pain, right? We can endure death to bring life, because I've had 4 children. It is absolute death experience. All right. We can go through it. We can sustain it. I know how tough we are, ladies. We are. But at the same time, this masculine energy is a different species. And that's what we have to understand, is we think that we can think what they're going to be doing, and that's what they're going to be doing. And they're completely the opposite. Right. So again, when I am fulfilled, and I am in my creativity, and I am in my passion, and I am in my truth, then I am a good partner. When I am empty, okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to need something, and that is going to be subconsciously and unconsciously unattractive. So this is why I'm saying, ladies, if you're like trying to get your guy to behave differently, or you're trying to get a soulmate or find your guy, or you're trying to get him to do something, or you're trying to change your husband after all these years, please stop watching that black cat shit, because you are just programming deeper separation of what is so basically simple and how you were originally designed. You are not broken. You are not you are not wrong. You've just been studying and believing the wrong information. And when you start to find the true information, you get to slow way down, you get to work way less, and you get to attract and receive more. Because the divine feminine is considered the magnetic pull, which means that when she is in her essence, like think about that flower field again, guys, men and women, both of you, say you're out in a flower field and you're going to look, and the one that is the most beautiful, the most vibrant, the most alive, that is going to pull you to it. And that is not like, oh, well, you're pretty or not. It's like you're drawn energetically to life. See, beauty has nothing to do with looks. It is how alive you are, how much your spirit is in your body, how creative and flowing your spirit is. Because when your ego is in the body, you're going to have major walls, major control. You're going to have issues with what you eat and where you go. Your social battery is going to be an issue. You're going to feel like triggered all the time. And that is a sign to say that you have received too much pain. So the ego has to be like in control, like your kind of like your boss, like your manager. Because the soul is about expressing itself like a child. It doesn't care whether what I'm artistically making is good or bad. It is something inside of me that it could be pain, it could be love, but I have nowhere to express it, so I express it through art. And it doesn't matter if anybody likes it, because it's like, well, that was that trauma, and now it's a flower tree, right? And that over there was, daddy issues, and now it's a sculpture, right? So again, it's about us being able to take the emotion that is stored in our bodies and bring it in and make something with it, create something out of it, right? And in the abundance that we do receive, if we're in our feminine energy, we will naturally multiply it. We will naturally grow. So masculine is the builder, the fixer, right? They are here to provide and protect the divine feminine energy. And if you do not have that provider, protector, fixer, builder around you right now, then there is a way, especially if you study this quantum Kabbalah, this feminine, modern feminine approach with me, you will see how you can kind of be both. But your main end goal is that creator becomes your provider, ladies, right? So one of the things that I did when I was taking that tutor break was I said, I don't want anyone that doesn't feel like creator, right? Because masculine is made in the image of creator. And so provider, protector, fixer, builder, which means that I'm not going to get played. I'm not going to get cheated on. I'm not going to get lied to, right? Like I'm going to be someone's like main reason for, living other than themselves. And like that's how the creator makes you feel when you really start to build a relationship, ladies. Like that is what's missing on your man hunt, is that you're looking for a man, and where we want to do is look for the creator, connect with the creator, start filling yourself up with all that life force energy, and then like turn over your will. And these were my exact words. I was like, I'm not choosing. I'm never getting on a dating site again. I'm never going backwards. I'm never going to pull from an old pot. And if I am alone for the rest of my life, like I'm fine with this relationship I have with creator, my beautiful kids, my home, my career. I'm fine. I don't need it. But if there is something in the cards for me, then you pick. And because I'm a total homebody, right? And I work from home, I'm like, you're basically going to have to show up at my door. And I think within like 2 or 3 months, like that literally happened. And I'll share more with that as I go into the podcast. But like that has been my kryptonite since I was, I don't know, like maybe 14 years old, was like, I'm the girl that can like talk it and walk it and look it, but I'm not the one that gets the guy. Like I'm the one that gets the wrong guy, or, it was always because I was the strong one because of the childhood abuse, right? So when you're too strong, you're not going to get the strong guy. You're going to get the little weasels. And then you're going to be like, well, I guess I could mother you, right? Project, I invested in you. So I invested time and energy in you. So now I guess I have to keep you. And maybe I can make you into something. I know you can relate, ladies. But I'm not saying that you're going to throw anyone away. Because one of the most beautiful things about this work that I'm doing with Kabbalah in my classrooms right now is that we're not studying Judaism. We're studying technology of numerology and true spirituality of who we are as the vessel. The vessel is what holds the light. See, it's never been a problem manifesting abundance, prosperity, resources, people, places, and things. The problem is the vessel, the container. We haven't had the vessel that could hold and have that what we desire. Okay? Because like if you look at those marriage vows, to have and to hold, think about if you can manifest, but you can't keep, right? Or you get just the bare minimum, or you get breadcrumbs, or you get a lot and then lose it. That will tell you exactly the state of being of your vessel. And the way that I broke it down in my classrooms is that we have a time vessel, we have a health vessel, we have a money vessel, and we have a space vessel that are basically alive, like actual containers, but the health of them is determined by your relationships. So let's say you have no time. So your time is going to be like holes, which means that all your time just somehow drops out or you lose time. That's going to tell you that that particular vessel has holes. Your space vessel, if you're cramped, you have no privacy, or you have no freedom, you can't travel, that lets you know that your space vessel is shrunken. Okay, and if your money vessel is like you can get it, but you can't keep it, right? Then what that means is that your money vessel is either got holes or it's got something in there that's kind of sucking the life out of you. And we'll get deeper into that in the classrooms because that gets a little bit more metaphysical concepts, but it's all there. And then that health, like if you can't seem to get your health right, you can't seem to lose weight, you can't seem to gain weight, you can't, and you're saying, oh, it's my age, it's my genetics. BS. Okay, you are a hologram that is regenerating yourself with every thought. Every thought you think creates you. So we cannot blame who we were 5 minutes ago on what we could be, because our thoughts create, our feelings create, our actions definitely create the trinity of manifestation. So we can change this vessel concept at any time, but we have to get right. We have to get right. We have to get super conscious about the health of the vessel, and then we either have to let that vessel go and begin again, or we can heal that vessel through inner work. You guys, you're not getting away from this with inner work. There's no pill, right? Unless you want to take like the blue pill and go back to sleep, like it isn't going to happen. There is work, because if the vessel is shrunk, it is because you shrink yourself in situations. That will tell you, right? If you got holes in your vessel, it is because you are in that dualistic competing belief system, which is like, I want it, but I don't want it because I'm scared, or I don't deserve it, but I want it. So that's what's going to put holes in that particular vessel. And the teachings of Kabbalah are very like scientific and very like based in math. But what I am doing is I'm bringing it for the divine feminine and the modern woman, because it is very much taught in this kind of like, acting as the creator, and yet we're the vessel. So hopefully I can get a lot of my female coaches on board with me to do this new podcast before my partner and I start our podcast, because that's going to be a whole different adventure, right? Like I've never truly had a relationship where the guy was doing as much inner work as I was, and I will tell you, it is so wonderful. It is so wonderful to have adult conversations, and yet we're so childlike. Because that is one thing, is you have to be like a child to enter the kingdom. And so one of the things that you won't be able to do in this work that we're going to go through together in this coming year is over logic your process, because logic means that you're looking for proof. And I'm saying you do this work with me, you're going to be living in the spirit world about 80% of your time. And 20% of the time is like, take action, or manifest, because the game isn't to be rewired in the game. The game is playing. If you want to change something in the game, you have to pause. You have to pause the game, and you have to take a step back and be like, why are these people in my movie, right? Why are they here? And what did I do to generate them? Because they're a generation They're a manufacturer. They're a 3D print of who I am as my avatar in my fractal fragmented consciousness, which means that you kind of come down here and your soul fragments into a whole bunch of pieces. And then those aspects of you get triggered in other people to awaken those parts of your soul. It's very fun. It's like a treasure map. It's like the game of hot and cold. It's the game of hide and seek. But you guys, this is very much virtual reality. It is a simulation. I've seen the other side. You know, I have been blessed with many psychic gifts, and I have seen literally the zeros and ones. So there isn't anything to get too worked up about it. And this is why we've got to really stay out of the logic. And when you put creator first as your partner, you put creator as your business partner, you put creator as your relationship partner, and then you make an agreement that every relationship is based out of the connection that you have with your divine creator. Then if you receive from the creator that which you were created to do, then anyone else that comes into your life will start to give and receive in such a healthy way. You will not have to teach people how you want to be treated. They will already know. So this is not a concept that I'm like, oh, I'm excited about it. No, I have literally been in the trenches working with this concept and this particular technology for about 6 months now, and probably more. But I will tell you that I started seeing changes in my life. No, probably about 9 months ago. I started seeing changes in my life literally after the first introduction to the concepts. Yeah. I mean, and again, I've been a spiritual deep diver for 20 years, and I have found myself in rabbit holes. I've found myself healing, and then it feels like, oh, there's another layer. And I know you guys can relate to that. It's like I'm healing, and there's another layer. And so we're like, how long is this going to take? But see, the reason why there's another layer is because we're getting the concept and we're doing the healing and we're moving into self-love, but we don't take the time to rebuild the vessel. And if you do not take time to rebuild the vessel and build a strong container for that which you desire, then you will never be able to hold it. And you will never be able to have it, which means that you'll stay mediocre, you'll stay settled, you'll stay distracted, you'll stay confused, you'll stay searching, you'll stay bored, you'll stay alone. And that is not how you were created. So hopefully you got a little bit of a nugget on what is coming this year. I don't know if I'm going to be doing as many lives as I was, because I'm really excited about this new podcast, having other women who all over the world that have mastered these concepts join me, and my team as well, and really just give you guys real, raw truth, tools, and techniques to turn this ancient technology into everyday life, because this is not something you do in your spiritual workout. This is not your spiritual weightlifting. This is your life. In everything you do, you're going to be able to pause. You're going to be able to rebuild. You're going to be able to let go. You're going to be able to redesign from behind the scenes. And then when you step back into the game will be different. And because you are a hologram, ladies, guys, your health, right? Your vitality. I'm thinking, oh my God, at 50 years old, and I finally figured this out. But I can run regeneration programs in my cellular memory. Hello, you guys. We have quantum physics, which means that the atom is going to behave how I see it, right? So let us use all of this amazing information, tools that we have, not to get lost in study and seeking, but to simplify, stop seeking, start growing, start multiplying, start moving into that abundant prosperity that you are within, but you actually get to hold on to it, keep it, and build something sustainable with it through the sovereign relationship that you have with the Creator. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and look for my new podcast. My whole YouTube channel is about to change, restructured. It's no longer going to be the biology of manifestation, which is still basically what I do, but I really want to focus towards the divine feminine rising and allowing her to know that in the darkest of times, all she got to do is glow. Right? Because that is our superpower. And we'll see what happens with that. And my classrooms are still available. We're still taking students for our Jedi Master training, which is all of this, right? And I'm also doing a kind of impromptu vessel creation workshop. It's only like 99 bucks, I think. Oh, it's 108 bucks. Come on. It's like 4 weeks, and I basically give you the exact coordinates on how to build the vessel, no matter what religion you are, no matter what spiritual journey you're on. You don't even have to study Kabbalah, because this is basic formula of what is going to come so obvious to you that you're going to be like, how did I miss this? Because again, the more logical we become, the more we lose that idea that you have to be like a child to enter the kingdom. And this is child's work. Like, I have taught this work to my son, who's 12 years old. He's getting it like that. His stuff is changing, giving him tools. And I know that if I can teach it to a 12-year-old boy, then, and I can see changes with him in every area of his life, then I can help anybody. So I hope you guys got a little nugget of this, or piqued some of your interests. If so, you guys go check out my app. I'll put it in the description. It is just a private app, because I got kicked off Facebook last year, and that's where I have all my little classrooms and all my workshops. I don't do a lot with it because, you know, I'm not like in it to win it. I'm just really in it for me, and like making myself the best version of myself and having my dream life. And I'm inviting people, but I'm not like marketing, because that is just not my jam. Like, I don't want to go out and market you. I do not want to sell you. I want to inspire you. And so if I did, then you can join me. I have lots of free workshops in there if you don't want to join the $108 one, which why wouldn't you wouldn't to, but whatever. And if so, just stay with me. You'll get a lot of this information through the Atomically Blonde podcast. I made my first one yesterday. So it's going to take a little bit of time to relaunch everything, but just stay tuned on my YouTube channel, and I will always continue to post. But we do have a big retrograde coming in Venus. And again, most of you guys are like waiting these retrogrades out. Oh, retrograde, when are you going to be over? No, go towards it, because this is where you can literally do so much changes on that horrific karmic wheel of yours if you are proactive instead of reactive. Okay, bye guys. Thank you so much for joining me. See you soon.